Florida was once marketed as the crown jewel of American tourism, a place where sunshine wasn't just weather, it was an economy. Millions of retirees, vacationers, and international visitors pumped billions into local businesses, transforming beaches and condo towers into financial engines. But in 2025, that engine was destroyed. Not by hurricanes, not by recessions, not even by pandemics. It was destroyed by the very politicians elected to protect it. In just 6 months, reckless rhetoric and hostile policies triggered the collapse of Florida's most valuable customer base, the Canadian Snowbirds. And when they left, they took everything with them. More than $6.6 billion in annual spending, $2.1 billion in property tax revenue, 60% of medical clinic income, and tens of thousands of jobs vanished almost overnight. Airlines cut routes. Condos lost 30% of their value. Tourist towns once overflowing with winter visitors became financial sinkholes. This wasn't an economic storm. This was political suicide. By early 2025, cracks in Florida's tourism model weren't subtle, they were statistical avalanches. Rental bookings from Canadians collapsed 31% year-over-year. Property searches fell 45%. Airline reservations dropped 38% on routes that depended on winter traffic. For a state engineered around predictable seasonal inflows from the north, this wasn't a dip. It was an existential collapse. Florida's leaders dismissed it as temporary. But within weeks, temporary became permanent. By February 15, the Tampa Tourism Board confirmed the nightmare. Nearly all Canadian winter bookings were gone. And the numbers translated into economic reality fast. Canadian households spent an average of $33,000 over 6 months, money injected directly into restaurants, rentals, healthcare, golf clubs, car services, and maintenance crews. Replacing one snowbird household required 28 American families visiting every year. Florida would need 14 million additional US families annually just to break even. That demand didn't exist and never would. Real estate was the first visible casualty. In Naples, Sarasota, and Clearwater, inventory doubled within 90 days. Seasonal condos that used to sell in days sat untouched. Prices collapsed by 30% in some communities. Foreign property tax contributions worth over $2.1 billion annually evaporated, leaving cities with gaping budget deficits. Snowbirds didn't just bring money, they were the economic foundation of Florida's winter season. And when the foundation vanished, the building fell. The collapse triggered a chain reaction across every connected industry. Restaurants saw revenue fall 50 to 70%. Retail stores posted their worst quarter in decades. Medical centers reported 60% declines in patient volume. Construction companies lost 70% of their renovation business. Airlines slashed 40% of Canadian routes. Rental car agencies liquidated fleets by the thousands. Florida had built a one-engine economy. And when that engine failed, everything died with it. But the collapse didn't stay inside state borders. It opened a global feeding frenzy. What Florida pushed away, other countries embraced. Portugal launched targeted campaigns in Canadian cities, promoting sunshine without hostility. Bookings to the Algarve surged 44%. Property inquiries jumped 52%. Mexico streamlined residency visas and saw Canadian arrivals grow 36% year-over-year. Caribbean nations rolled out medical incentives, tax benefits, and long-stay programs. Barbados added 11,000 Canadian retirees in a single season. In less than a year, Canadian retirees reallocated more than $4.2 billion in winter spending to new destinations. Florida's decades-long tourism advantage evaporated. Yet Florida's leaders stayed trapped in denial. Despite a $2.3 billion revenue shortfall and tourism boards warning of 70,000 job losses ***, politicians insisted the downturn was seasonal. Leaked memos told a different story, one predicting $9.8 billion in damage within 2 years if policies didn't shift. Instead of reversing course, lawmakers doubled down, advancing restrictions on foreign property ownership and fingerprinting requirements for long-term visitors. Every barrier pushed Canadians further away. Between January and June 2025, Canadian property transactions fell 62%, costing Florida $1.1 billion in tax revenue. Counties like Collier and Lee reported deficits exceeding $450 million. Infrastructure projects stalled. Municipal bonds were downgraded. The collapse wasn't just financial, it was political denial at its peak. And perhaps the most devastating truth, the damage is permanent. Florida didn't just lose one season, it lost trust. Canadians purchased homes abroad, enrolled in new healthcare systems, and built new communities. These weren't temporary tourists, they were long-term residents. Once they left, the economic foundation Florida relied on dissolved.